canvas. Okay. All right. Are we recording?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. So I'm going to demonstrate how to throw an egg, hopefully successfully. I have this bowl here that I threw that's probably in the range of 4 inches or so. The way that these calipers work is that you can measure the exterior of something this way, or you can push them all the way together and have them overlap, and you can measure the interior of something. And so what I would want to do is measure that interior space, and then we only have like 4 of these for the studio. So what you should do is go to your sketchbook and lay this down and trace it and make marks and make a measurement on there. And so you can set this down, someone else can use it, but then when you need it again, you can go and reset the calipers. Now, when we're making the egg, which is going to fill up this void, we want to make sure that the exterior of the egg is just slightly smaller than the interior of that space. So this measures an interior space, and some marks on a piece of paper, and then you can switch to this measurement to make sure when you're making that egg shape that it's going to be a little bit smaller than this. And I have a bit more clay than I used to make the bowl. I think I probably made the bowl with about 1.5 pounds, and this is closer to 2 pounds of clay. Just like almost everything we make on the wheel, we're going to start basically with the cylinder. And then at this point, now that it's centered and I've found my center, I'm going to think about throwing a cylinder that has a bowl in the bottom. And so instead of making a flat floor, I'm going to pull that out kind of as though I'm making a bowl. Because I want the interior bottom of this egg to be rounded. So it's kind of like a bowl with really tall sides that we're going to close in on itself. So I'll leave a little excess clay down there, like maybe 1/2 inch or so, at the very bottom. Okay, so now I've got about 1/2 inch of clay at the bottom of my well that I drilled, and now when I pull out, I'm going to kind of pull out in that bowl shape. Wheel down a little bit. So that was like pulling out the wall and starting to pull the wall up. And now I'm going to continue that motion. I feel like this needs to be a little bit wider. Up into the cylinder shape. And I'm slowing the wheel down as I go, just incrementally, kind of like backing off on the speed, the taller this gets. I'm going to collar this in a little bit, and this will be basically how you're going to create the closed egg. And so we're going to start trying to keep this a skinnier form. So this is called collaring, where you have lots of water on your hands and lots of water on the side of the piece, and you're just applying pressure slowly and coaxing that form. So I'm going to do another pull. Make sure I don't end up with a lot of water sitting down in there. Slow down. We're getting there. I think I might be able to do one more where I get a little bit of this excess clay out. All right, so at this point, it's going to be all about collaring and throwing that wall. So I want to make sure that I don't have water down in here at all, because I'm going to start closing this off and it'll get too small for me to be able to put my hand inside. So I'm going to collar this in. So the wheel should be going pretty slow. And just keep in mind that you'll do this collaring many, many times, and it's just you're just coaxing the clay in. So you're not trying to push it closed all in one move. The other thing is, as you do this, the clay wall actually gets thicker, because as it's spread out, it takes more clay to make that wide form, and as you collar it in and it gets skinnier and skinnier, this gets thicker here. So after you collar in a few times, you can actually come in and throw this area that you have made thinner. So look how I'm like making sure my two hands are touching. Just these two fingers are going to do the throwing. Needs to be a lot of water so that it doesn't stick at all. And just a delicate little throw there. And then more collaring. So you're always going up when you're collaring. You're always moving upwards. If you go down, you risk kind of making the form collapse. So you're always using an upward motion. And then really want to try to get that water out of there before the end. I wonder if we have a sponge on a stick, and if we don't, I'll make one. But that's really helpful to have a sponge that's like rubber banded to a stick, and you can get into that skinny place and make sure you get the water out of there. Okay, so I'm going to do another pull here, and then we're going to close this form off. Before I get it too small, I'm going to do one more little stretching of the clay walls here. Maybe a little shaping, kind of stretching that out a little bit. Because once we close this off, we can't shape the interior. And actually, I'll use the rounded edge of my wooden knife here and kind of stretch that form out a little bit down in the belly. Okay, now collar that up, and we'll get to a point where it closes. We have a balloon.
Yay.
So now there's air trapped inside, and we can actually use that to our benefit, because now we can kind of compress and shape and stuff, and the air is keeping it from collapsing. So this is where I need that metal rib. I thought I had one over here, but does somebody have one accessible? Oh, can I just use this one here?
Oh, yeah. I was like,
So the metal rib is nice because we can bend it and shape it. And conform to the curve. So this has a kind of looks like a raindrop right now, right? So let's just kind of compress that top part and shape it into more of a oval. And so that maybe is like a little too round on top there. So I can come in and maybe even use like a flat rib here to try to create that more of like an egg shape. And then just like with the bowl, we can trim that excess clay away. Oh, I was supposed to use my calipers. So it's a little perfect. Okay. Phew. You would want to be checking that before you close it off. Note. Because it's kind of hard to make it wider once this is already closed. All right. So now you have an egg shape, almost. We still need to trim the bottom of it. And that'll be our next step here. So then when you're finished throwing your form and you're on the bat here, you can use your rib to get underneath, and then you can just take that off and set that aside.